Things. Sister Tamara? Sister Tamara? Last week, just ask you to give each person one of this. Last week, while we were studying about using music as a tool for evangelism, you would have, for those of you who were here, you'd have remembered that two persons were asking about love songs again. And I had said that I was not going to look at it, but in discussing with somebody, I said I would just do one thing very quickly, and then I would move on to the second aspect, which was to just highlight some issues concerning using music as a tool for evangelism. Because we are in our Youth Week of Prayer, and we are trying to focus on the whole aspect of evangelism and all these things. So we want to recognize that even in the use of music, we have to be very careful. But for now, so Brother Luke had asked me when we were looking at love song thing about which love song was played at some of us our wedding. Right. Sister Tamara, look, you got one already? Right. So I'm going to ask you to do in 1 minute, because with shop, we're running tight on time for 1 minute. Just read that song for me and just tell me from your own feelings and such if you see anything wrong with the sentiments in this song. Just based on your feelings. If this was your wedding and this song was being played and your especially for the men, you play this for your newly wedded wife. Just read 1 minute, just read through quickly, and then I'm going to be asking you if you see anything wrong with the sentiments being expressed in this song. I hear the young lovebirds already happy. Don't worry, you'll get your moment to express yourself. 40 seconds to go. Lovebird Luke and laughing off his head already. No, show me the hands of anybody who have never heard this song. You have never heard this song before? All right, so we accept that, no problem. All right. But for those of you who hear this song, tell me the honest truth. The music and everything, doesn't it sound and doesn't it move you when it is being played and sung? All right. Just based on what you feel and everything, do you feel anything wrong with this song? Just, You know, man, you know, you said no and you said strong. We understand. Right. Okay. All right. 1 more minute now. 1 more minute. I'm going to take your hand. 1 more minute. Are you listening? 1 more minute. This time now, you're going to look at it through the eyes of God. And you're going to tell me, when you read the sentiments of this song, if you see anything wrong with the things that are expressed. Boy, I tell you, she couldn't even wait till the minute finish, you know. All right. So, If love song inside of our heart. All I have been looking at principles that you must use when you are assessing when that will be said.
Let's start from the person's on
Yeah. So what I've been saying, brethren, I know there are a lot of persons. I just have a 1 minute, just 1 minute. Yes, just rest your legs. I know a lot of persons that love when persons tell them what they should do and what they should not. You understand? Listen, none of you are babies right now, and we're too late for that when we're approaching the heavenly Canaan. So, because guess what? That as a pen of inspiration, there time will come when we won't be beside each other to support each other. So what we are trying to do is empower you with how you apply principles. And let me tell you something. I always tell people, you see the same argument you use to justify your stance on a matter, always recognize that somebody else will use the same argument to justify their stance. And you must always ask yourself, if they use the same argument, how can I counteract them? You understand? Right. So we are saying, we look at it from an emotional standpoint, and we say, we agree that it seems nice. We say no. So that's what we look at when we look at love song. We started out by establishing that every song has an emotion to it, whether you like it or not. And therefore, you cannot say that this thing don't affect me. It's either you love it or you hate it, but some emotion is involved. And what we're saying, it also affects your morals. These are things that we looked at, that even pagan people agree that music, even without words, affect your morals. And we looked at the fact that we had quoted something here. Just a quick reminder, I hope my sister don't forget. We had looked at a quotation from Satan, where he talks about he is the one who writes many songs. And he emphasized the point to make the young girls cry. So we need to recognize that we already said that while it is true that God is the one who makes notes and all of these things, your arrangement of them can either be for God or for Satan. So we say we would look at love songs and we just pick this one, and the principle you apply, you going to take that and apply. I'm not going to be no judge over no millions of love songs and tell you this one right, that one. No, you must decide if you think these things are appropriate. So my sister is going to begin now, and she's going to tell us from a spiritual standpoint, what are some of the things that jump out at you in this song?
Well, first of all, I see from this moment life has begun. I see something wrong with that, because which moment your life is supposed to begin with Jesus, and you're not supposed to think about a human being like that in that aspect. I just see something wrong with that. Another thing, I live only for your happiness. The only right there is really wrong, because it's like you're living for the person, like you're a slave to the person. Like I don't think that's correct as a Christian. If you relate that to God, then that would be okay, right? But to a partner, it's not okay.
One more, and then I'm going to allow other persons. Lucan want to share.
There's another one. My dreams came true because of you. No, it came true because of God.
All right, thank you very much. Lucan, you're on the floor now.
All right, Brother Comrie. So I've heard Jenny, but right, let's take it into context. Where it says life has begun. Remember that there are even biblical expressions, right, that have to be taken into context, else they are misconstrued or misinterpreted. So to say that life has begun is applying to, okay, my life is outside of Jesus, is not necessarily, I think it's taking it out of context. Because life has begun, I interpret it as your life start, because remember they would have been living, so it can't be that they say the life just start. It just starts a new life has started, a new love life has started. So that is my 2 cents in terms of I live only for your happiness. Again, I think there are many types of love, and I think there are many types of happiness. So it's not that the person was not happy before. It is that this happiness comes on, the romantic happiness. So again, I am asking us to take it into context.
Fair enough. My sister is going to rebut your argument. Go ahead. And then we take Romario. Yes,
So
your name say I must say like romance. So Romario. So we take you after. Go ahead.
So why couldn't the writer say, I live for your happiness? Why does it say I live only for your happiness? You don't see anything wrong with the word only right there? Yeah.
All right.
I live only for your happiness. It's wrong, Lucan. The person is only living for the happiness of their partner.
Just admit it, Luca. Just admit
Only.
it. Yeah. All right. So here what's happening now. Again, listen. In the context of that marriage, it sounds nice because it sounds like the person, I am committing to you. But the issue is, again, there is a morality that is coming and a message that is coming. Is that what you are saying? Because indeed you are right. Why didn't they say that? Instead of putting only. Because guess what happened in Lucan? Do you know that in reality, if you ever find the wrong woman, your family they on the back burner, your friends they on the back burner, even God put them on the back burner? Yes, if you read the Pen of Inspiration, she said there was a man, she said she feels sorry for the man because of the grip that the woman put on him. She said, I don't know if the man had a moment of happiness. Because what? She believed that everything must have been done for her happiness. You understand? Right. So guess what happened? What we're saying, and these are some of the things, I'm going to quickly read some of the things. And that's why I said to you the last time, if you're going to talk about love song, you must read chapter 7 of Adventist Home. Because it speaks about certain principles of love. And one of the principles that you have to be careful is that you have some persons who, when we start to read it, you will hear she talk about love-sick sentimentalism. They always believe that things must be on a romantic level. And on that basis, they expect you. They couldn't care less what you're feeling, Lucan. But you must always make sure that the environment is there for their happiness. Now, if you go and pet them in that manner, would you be doing them any good at all? You understand? So we're just saying, looking at some principles. So one of the things that she says, indeed, there is no circumstance that anybody should hold your affection more than how your affection is placed on God. And let me tell you something, brethren, just a message of warning. Any woman or any man you find who loves you more than they love God, run. Run. You understand? At no time, because if the person loves God more than how they love you, principles will always govern that relationship. If they love you more than how they love God, things will always happen. All right, so we're going to take a quick. Anybody else have a thing on the song? On the song? All right, so we take it, then we come to you, brother Ella Planto. Go ahead, the mic. Go ahead. Right beside you, yes.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yes, go.
Well, the part that says I live only for your happiness, I would like to comment on that as well. This can be interpreted in various ways. She can mean that she lives for the happiness of her partner only and not for him and other men. And also, if you look at it in a general sense, as you alluded to earlier, is that if she lives only for the happiness of her partner, even if it affects the relationship with God, then something is wrong with that. So.
All right. Thank you very much. Ella Planto.
Yeah. So my challenge is not the nuances of the words
Yes.
and the phrases, because if you go on a debate, for and against can always have points.
True.
My challenge is that some of these pronouncements, even if nothing is wrong with them, it's deceptive. Because really and truly, it's not true. Because look here. Look here. You see, when the feelings is high, and they say before the sheen rubs off, all of these things are said. I give my last breath for you. Not true. I don't have anything else to say.
Hey, yo, but El Planto, El Planto. Don't you think that that is probably what Adam did? Don't you think that that's what Adam did and caused it to fall? So I agree with what you're saying because hear what happened. That is what again I say to your brethren, read the pen of inspiration. Information is there to help you. Because one of the things that she does mention is that this issue of romantic sentimentalism creates a false sense of security in a lot of people. And when the love is tested, all hell breaks loose. Because all of a sudden, the night before Luke and a nice dinner, and we sing the love song, we wake up tomorrow morning, something happened, and you wonder, so what did happen last night? You understand? Right. So it creates an atmosphere of emotionalism, but the substance, and that is what the pen of inspiration questions, the substance of it. And what therefore should it be the true basis of really showing love to each other? My sister, then we're going to quickly go. The time is going and I need to switch from this. Yes.
All we need is just the two of us.
Oh my goodness. No man, don't run so quick. What is wrong with that?
Yeah.
All right. Now, I think it's what? Ecclesiastes 4. 2 is better than 1. Because if one fall, the other is there to lift them up. And if one is cold, the other is there to warm them. But you know what he goes on to say, Lucan? He says, a threefold union is not easily broken. And which man that God expects if you bring in that marriage now? A woman? God. There's no such thing as a marriage without God in it. So when you rewrite this, you're right. If it is that you're only living for each other, both of you could be happy going on to hell. Because if God is not in the midst of that marriage to lead and direct, virgin, let me tell you something. You can live happily and pleasing each other and go to hell. But you have to know on what basis do you examine if your marriage is honorable to God. Take your hand and then we move on quickly.
It's the same line, just another part to it is if that relationship falls apart or if like the person dies or something happens or they change, and how will you live since you guys needed each other?
You're going to say that to somebody else when you get married to them.
Anything can happen.
No, I agree with what you said.
I did include die, like if the person died, you can't live now because you didn't need, all you needed was that person is no longer there, you can't go on anymore. Because some people, as I said, people lose their way, not everybody will make it to the kingdom. Somebody might just decide to leave. Yeah, even if you try to fight and keep it, you have to have God. You can't just need it. You're not even supposed to need a person. You're supposed to have a certain, affection, devotion, respect, everything, but it's God alone supposed to sustain you.
Yeah. All right, one, and then we look and then we'll wrap up this part quickly. Yeah. Right in the mic, please. Yes.
Why you think most people commit suicide? It's because of these same things, It's because of these same things why many people commit suicide. I really don't believe in these things. Nobody can tell me no.
So important thing she's raising is, it's very interesting, the Virgin. I don't know if any one of you analyze it, but do you recognize that a lot of people who sing love songs don't have good relationships? So the question is, what was the spirit behind them writing it? Because somebody said he wanted a tool. He wanted somebody to pen these things and to get you to think along the line of something other than true love. And then when you get hooked on that aspect of it, and when it fails, you will kill yourself. So what we're saying, Virgin, is that you must decide at the end of the day what you think God expects of you with regards to this song. All right, Luke, and you very quick, and then my sister, so I give 30 seconds, 30, and then we have to move on.
Touching on the point, all we need is just the two of us. It begs the question, does it mean that God has to be directly mentioned in all situations? For example, if I'm building a house, or does it mean that it could be mentioned beforehand, but within the context at hand, it is not mentioned? Say I'm building a house and I say, oh, all I need is the block, the cement, and the marl. But however,
Yes, go ahead.
Without stating it, you obviously need the workmen. But you have not said that, right? So what I'm saying is that, is it because God is not mentioned, does it mean that he's omitted? We need to think of,
and that's a very good question to look at.
Yes, so we need, because there are times when even we express things that we are going to do, but don't mention God in that particular moment because we would have prayed about it before, right? Or would have mentioned it to God before, right? So does it mean that because God is not mentioned in the picture now, does it absolve him totally from the picture?
And that's a very good question, because guess what? One can easily say, so why isn't this the most blessed thing to mention him worse at your wedding? That you are going to be making a pledge to this person and you are singing this song as a pledge and not a word about God. Why? You understand? And that is why we had mentioned, Luke, and that probably the best, the safest thing for us is to write our own thing. Because then we know we are speaking from the heart. And if God is the foundation, then it will be the sweetest thing to mention his blessing upon our relationship. You understand? Right. So we are saying that in all the midst of these things, you have to ask, why is it that it is not there? And you can reason, and I appreciate what you're saying. You can reason around it, and justify it. But then the issue is, what taste does it live in the hearer's ear about what you are actually doing? As opposed to if you glorified God, as he would say, acknowledge him in everything, and he will direct your path. Because the reality, Lucan, is that sometimes we behave as if we are ashamed of mentioning God, even when we are going on a date. We believe as if only when you come to church and only when you're praying together. We cannot go on a date and we talk about God and his goodness between us because we said that's not romantic. You understand? And if you talk to wife and husband, they will tell you that, why, if you mention God before sex, then dead. Really? You understand? As if I know him didn't life. So, quick, my sister had her hand up, and then we take your hand, my brother, and then I'm just going to go through the song one quick time, and then we close off this part. 3:37. Go ahead, sis.
So the line, you're the reason I believe in love. Who is love, or what is love? God is love. So for you to say that because of another person, that's why you believe in love, that's a very poor and shaky reason to because of a sinful mortal being.
Yes.
You're gonna trust this person and love this person. I mean, you don't know the love of God.
Perfectly so.
Because in order for you to love somebody or even love yourself, you would have to know what God is, and God is love. You would have to experience his love.
Yes.
You would have to come in your life, fill you up, so that you would be able to love yourself and in turn love others.
Perfectly well, my sister. Yes, my brother. Mike again, yes.
Okay, while Lucan made a good point earlier.
Yes.
And while I agree with it to some point, if you read the next sentence below,
yes,
then that confirms to me that this has nothing to do with God. Because after she said, all we need is just the two of us, then she went on to say, my dream came true because of you.
Because of you.
Not
Right.
because of God.
Right.
So even if you wanted to think that at first, with the third line, all we need is just the two of us, then when you reach the other line now, then it's, oh, this has nothing to do with God then.
Yeah.
Because the dream, you would think that she would say, my dream came true because of
God. I
God.
prayed to
God brought us together.
Yes.
So that's the line I'm looking
right.
at.
So you see, it's quote unquote beautiful song, and you see how many issues you can actually find that you have to ask yourself, are these sentiments what God would really appreciate? Well, guess what? If you listen to the song again, just by the way how the music is played, believe me, it will move you. Brethren, let me tell you something. You think that Satan is idiot? You think that Satan don't know what? Let me tell you, just the music alone playing can make you cry. No words, you know. Just the music alone can make you cry. And that is why, look, and you see, when me and you drive go country, in our younger days, we used to put in some kind of music, pump up and make a press on the gas. But anyhow, we put in a gospel song, we drive peaceful and calm. So the music depends on what? Your emotional response. And now we're saying, when Satan is trying and he wants to move things into your mind and implant sentiments that can damage you, he will put it on the nicest tunes and you will listen to them and don't even realize what is being said. So I'm going to just quickly, very quickly, read some things. Oh my, I don't think I have enough time. Sir? Yeah, but this is so many things to read, but I'm going to encourage us again. Go to chapter 7 of Adventist Home, and I'll just start to read some of it for you here. It says, love is a precious gift from Jesus. Love is a precious gift which we receive from Jesus. Come back to the point you mentioned. It is pure and holy affection, and it is not a feeling, but a principle. Those who are actuated by true love are neither unreasonable nor blind. You say, yeah, there's a love is blind. Not with God. There is but little real, genuine, devoted, pure love. This precious article is very rare. Passion is termed as love. True love is a high and holy principle, altogether different in character from that love which is awakened by impulse and which suddenly dies when severely tested. Love is a plant of heavenly growth, and it must be fostered and nourished. Affectionate hearts, truthful words, loving words, which make happy families and exert an elevating influence upon all who come within the sphere of their influence. Now, let me just say something quickly, Bridget. This is what is mashing up a lot of us. And that is why a lot of us then resort to love song and these little events. We don't know how to speak kindly to each other in the home. We don't know how to be helpful to each other. I say to you, if you're a husband and you come in, you say you love your wife, and God forbid you say you love them to death, but we don't expect you want them to die. You really want them to live as long as you live. So you come in and you help them to do the housework and everything. And while they're cooking, you're beside them, you're talking, you bunks them, you're washing and everything. And you express your tender care to them. But what do? I'm tired. I'm going to kick off my food. I'm going to start watch TV. Where the food then? And when it finished, she must turn around and wash the things. And she's tired. And then you're ready enough for something in her bed. And when she says she's tired, then you turn around and say, so how you expect this marriage to work if man can't get none? You understand? So we don't understand what is pure love. Always what? Passion and impulse. Very quick. True love versus passion. Love is not unreasonable. It is not blind. It is pure and holy, but the passion of the natural heart is another thing altogether. While pure love will take God into all its plans. You understand? Every single thing. It says, and will be in perfect harmony with the Spirit of God. Passion will be headstrong. And I tell you, all of you who plan to get married, you think say you're headstrong? Well, you wait until you buck up the rep and make things start to happen. And when Satan comes in the midst, then you will know what headstrong is like. I says it is not, and passion is rash, unreasonable, defiant to all restraint, and will make the object of its choice an idol. So the woman will become what? You are the only reason why I live. But we don't say it's idolatry. But you know the interesting thing? Hardly will we ever say that to God. So we will go and we'll find love songs, Sister Tamara, and we'll sing to the person. But if we say, let us sing this song, I love thee, I love thee, I love thee, my God. Oh, that is funeral song. No, but I'm just saying, you see, I'm just comparing the effort that we'll put in when passion is there. But yet still we don't feel that passion for God. Because there are certain songs that should express what we put it sideways. In all the deportment of one who possesses true love, the grace of God will be shown. Modesty, simplicity, sincerity, morality, and religion will characterize every step toward an alliance in marriage. Those who are thus controlled will not be absorbed in each other's society at a loss of interest in the prayer meeting and the religious service. Their fervor for the truth will not die on account of the neglect of the opportunities and privilege that God has graciously given to them. Brethren, if you are in a courtship and it is preventing you from coming to church on a regular basis, run. And if you are in a marriage relationship and it is preventing you from serving God as you ought to, go fast and pray, both of you. Something is seriously wrong. The love which has no better foundation than mere sensual gratification will be headstrong, blind, and uncontrollable. Honor, truth, and every noble, elevated power of the mind are brought under the slavery of passion. The man who is bound in the chains of this infatuation is too often deaf to the voice of reason and conscience. Neither argument nor entreaty can lead him to see the folly of his course. And for some of the ladies who are married, they will tell you it's the hardest thing to talk to the man. All him concern is about what he want. And when he get what he want, you can't even talk to him still. They say they can't sit down and reason with a man. True love is not a strong, fiery, impetuous passion. On the contrary, it is calm and deep in its nature. It looks beyond mere externals and is attracted by qualities alone. It is wise and discriminating, and its devotion is real and abiding. Love lifted up out of the realm of passion and impulse becomes spiritualized and is revealed in words and acts. That's why I mentioned this thing, you know. A lot of time, Brother Lucan, a lot of us, we divorce our emotions from the spiritual part. And so once we're in a courtship situation, and even when we're married and we say, boy, we'll have dinner together as wife and husband, we say, I'm not church this. So we put God aside and we now start to talk. And sometimes, God forbid, I mean, you know what I think with us, President? Sometimes we think because we are married, then he give license to remote run wild. Oh God, if you would read some of the things that the pen of inspiration warn. Because you know what? Again, the principle of the marriage is that it should elevate and ennoble your character for the highest good in God. Never should it nurture and pet your impulse and passion to the point where it overrules your spiritual side of your life. Yes, sir, Brother Lucan.
Yes, Brother Comer. So
yes.
Read what you're reading about love and its ideals.
Yes.
I want to ask a question, or I want to suggest that when a relationship, a love relationship takes time to develop. Yes. So what you're reading now does not happen by immediacy. It happens over time.
True.
And just like a relationship with God, right? It becomes sweeter. So what you're reading now is something that is a goal that should be reached towards.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So I don't want to form the impression that love is not going to be grating, love is not going to be hard, and in the initial stage is not going to be a lot of conflicts because there are two different persons with two different ideas.
Yes.
Right? And I look back at the relationship that Jesus has with myself, with the children of Israel.
Yes.
Right? And it points out that love, unconditional love, is patient, is kind, irrespective of the waywardness.
Yeah.
The love is still there.
Yes.
Right? So you mentioned about the husband expectation from a wife and the wife's expectation from a husband. But we also know of cases where that has happened and the cases have been worked out, right? The cases have been developed into a more loving relationship. So I just want to point out that what you're reading is something that we should aim towards getting, and it should not be something that is automatic as many young persons think that it will always happen.
Perfect point. And this is why, and this is a very beautiful point, because here what happened. You see all of the things I'm reading here about what she says in chapter 7. You know what was her issue? She said from childhood, these things were planted, Luke, and in the heads of young people. Their concept of love. You understand? The love-sick sentiment, and they bring it over into marriage. And as they bring it over into marriage, then Satan create the problem, and then all hell break loose. You understand? So you're right. It's a high ideal, and therefore the question is, what do we need to do to set the platform from now, so that when we head into this thing, we don't set up ourselves for downfall? So this statement again, from chapter 7, it says sentimentalism to be shunned as leprosy. Imagination, lovesick sentimentalism should be guarded against as it would be the leprosy. Very many of the young men and women in this age of the world are lacking in virtue. Therefore, great caution is needed. Those who have preserved a virtuous character, although they may lack in other desirable qualities, may be of real worth. And come back to your point. So you have to give yourself time to mature and recognize what God expects. True love, the young are bewitched with the mania of courtship and marriage. Lovesick sentimentalism prevails. Great vigilance and tact are needed to guard the youth from these wrong influences. Let me quickly go down because of time here. Continuing, it says, there are some persons who have for some time made a profession of religion who are, to all intents and purposes, without God and without a sensitive conscience. They are vain and trifling. Their conversation is of a low order. Courtship and marriage occupy the mind to the exclusion of higher and nobler thoughts. The young are bewitched and with the mania for courtship and marriage. Lovesick sentimentalism prevails. And it says that daughters are not taught to self-denial and self-control. They are petted and their pride is fostered. Turn your mind away from the romantic projects. You mingle with your religion a romantic lovesick sentimentalism, which does not elevate but only lowers. It is not yourself alone who is affected. Others are injured by your example and influence. Daydreaming and romantic castle building have unfitted you for usefulness. You have lived in an imaginary world. You have been an imaginary martyr and an imaginary Christian. There is much of this low sentimentalism mingled with the religious experience of the young in this age. My sister, God requires you to be transformed. Elevate your affections, I implore you. Devote your mental and physical powers to the service of your Redeemer, who has bought you. Sanctify your thoughts and feelings, that all your works may be wrought in God. The form of words chosen, spoken over two who take the marriage vow, does not make them a unit. In their future life is to be the blending of two in wedlock. It may be made a really happy union if each will give to the other true affection. But time strips marriage of romance, with which imagination hath clothed it. You know what she's saying? So when you go to the marriage, all the things that the pastor say does not make your marriage a complete thing. As Luke can say, take work, because personalities will not have to rub against each other. But then it says, as time goes on, romance is stripped from the marriage with which imagination had clothed it. So we both go into this thing and we have this concept in our mind to live happily ever after. And as soon as problem come, all we have to do is just find a nice environment and all will be well. And when imagination had clothed it, and then the thought find entrance into the mind. And this is what Satan wanted. Through Satan's suggestion, we do not love each other as we supposed. So what was the problem? From day one, they have a concept in their mind. Where did the concept come from? From they were young, they were listening, and she mentioned, because we never had read in her time, she said they were reading a lot of love stories. So it filled their head with this romantic sentimentalism, and they say that this is how marriages are to. So when you enter into marriage now, and after a few weeks, you come now and life begin. You get up, the man start leaving dirty shoes all over the place. And he leaving toothbrush and toilet seat up, and all kind of problems start. He says, all of a sudden, you hear say, but he really did things that we love each other now, but it seems like something wrong. That's what Satan wanted. Lay the wrong foundation, create the problem, and then he tell you what is the issue. Expel it from your mind. Do not linger over it. Let each forget of self. Refuse to entertain that say that the idea that Satan would be glad to have you cherish. Listen to this now. He will make you to become suspicious, jealous at every little thing that shall furnish the least occasion. And married people will tell you that, brethren. After problem, everything you do, your phone and your answer message, who that now? I matter about old Lord like say no. And he says, in order to alienate your affection from each other. Listen to this now. He says, when the romance is gone, let each think not after a sentimental order, how he or she should make the married life what God would have pleased it to be. You understand? So when problem comes, you say, let's kiss and make up. So we create an environment, provide dinner. I say, my darling Tamara, I'm so sorry, and everything. And then you get where you want it at the night. And he say, everything all right. But he hasn't dealt with the issue yet of why he did what he did and how he's going to prevent it and make sure that you don't lose trust in him. You understand? So he says, don't sit down and try to come up with it. Because as I tell you, brethren, you need to ask yourself, when you're going to be singing these songs to somebody, what is the motive behind it? And when if you are going to sing these songs, look at the words and ask yourself, are these sentiments that I should really be expressing to anybody? A human being. And so I leave you to judge for yourself in that matter, because time is fast going. I wanted to look at the issue. So that is the issue with love song, and I'm done with that now. I want to just quickly say, because I have only 5 minutes, with regards to music. This is a different kind of music now we're talking about. And again, brethren, I'm going to encourage us, please, because you know, Brother Luke had asked a question 2 weeks ago in lesson study. And he had asked, what are some of the peculiar things that we're actually doing today that is really wrong? We need to identify them, and then how do we deal with them? And I said to him at the time that because of the lesson, we couldn't do that. But the church need to do it. That's why the Bible says, call a solemn assembly and show my people their sin, so we can repent. Why is it that we don't deal with the problems as we ought to? One, we don't read. And if you don't read, brethren, I remember my wife was saying about Walter White. He said I was going to preach a sermon at one time, and somebody said to him that, listen, I beg you to do something. He says, you know, if you preach about a certain topic, then the people will become knowledgeable about the thing. And when they become knowledgeable about the thing, and they see that it is wrong, then they will have to confess and repent. But if you don't preach about it, they will not know about it. And if they don't know about it, and they do it in ignorance, there's nothing for them to ask for forgiveness. And then God will wink at their ignorance. And sometimes I believe that that is how a lot of us brethren operate. Brethren, you think that you can stand up before God in the judgment and say, I never have access to the writings of the spirit of prophecy, and then free and can download to your phone? And all the time you and I spend on Facebook and WhatsApp, you think we can then sit down in front of God and say, I never had the time to read up on these things? So I'm encouraging you, please read up about music, because music has become the idol of many of us. But we don't want to say it's an idol, because we don't want to admit that an idol is something. As a matter of fact, it's not just an idol, it's like an opium to some of us. Because as soon as we feel anyway, we grab for a song, but we don't even pray to God. So the song becomes the thing that uplifts us. But if you say, pray to God, we find all kind of excuses and say, boy, I don't know if God would even hear me right now. So we are singing the song for them. Who you are singing it for? You understand, brethren? Reason amongst yourself and ask yourself, is all of the things where you say, if it makes no common sense at all in your approach to music. Because one of the things that she warns us about, and because time is gone, she warns us about the type of music we use. She warns us about the level of the music being played. She warns us also about some of us that when we are going to sing music, we don't pay attention to the ungodly lifestyle that we live. And she's saying, God, when I say she, God is saying that, and I read it from the Psalms the other day. We love to talk about David, say he must sing praise and all of it. David said when that he's going to sing, he has the what? The two-edged sword in his right hand. You cannot sing properly if you don't love to read Bible. Because otherwise, what are you singing about? So she mentioned the whole thing of the fact that music will become a prominent tool in the hand of Satan to deceive many in the Seventh-day Adventist Church. But then despite the fact that God warned us about this, Ella Facey, some of us, we come up with justifiable reason as to why we listen to the songs that we listen to. So hear what I say to you. Reason all you want, and let your emotion decide all you want. At the end of the day, God says, my word will not return unto me void. I warn you about everything. And let me just use an example, see, brethren. A quick example to show you how powerful music is and why we need to be careful. You remember the story of David when he went up to take the ark? It was in the camp of the Philistines, in some person's house. And he was going to take the ark so that he would bring it up to Jerusalem. Because he says, why should the ark remain down there and the house of God is up here? David was so excited that he went and he says he called all type of musicians to come. And he called all the Levites and everybody. And they start a piece of music marching on. Anybody remember what happened to the procession? Because when the ark was on the cart and it rocked, Uzzah reached up and touched it. And he was struck dead. And David turned around and started to accuse God. In the midst of the worship service, he turned around of accusing God for being so judgmental upon Uzzah. The man was just merely trying to help. Then when God explained to him and remind him of what he expects in a worship service, David takes a different approach. And now he realized that a couple of things he did wrong. In the first instance, the ark should never have been on a cart. No human being must touch it, not on a cart. There were certain Levites who were supposed to bring it. Also, is it possible that because he went and he took, because he was responding to his emotion, so excited to bring up the ark, that he forget that only certain instruments were to be played while you make procession in the worship of God? Now, if you start to violate principles along the way, is it possible that it could then create an environment where other persons could misunderstand their role in a spiritual matter like Uzzah and realize that he should never have touched the ark of God? So do you realize that if you embrace a wrong system of music inside the church, that you can actually lead people to desecrate the house of God and desecrate the worship of God? You understand, brethren? So not because you and I feel close to God, we do anything before God. We must control our emotions also, and we must make sure that we do only those things that are pleasing to God. So because of time, brethren, I have to close it, but I'm just going to encourage us. So please go and when you download the writings of the Spirit of Prophecy, just download and look at what she says about music. You will see all the warnings there about music. Now, you can always choose to ignore them. You can always choose, because as we studied the lesson this morning, God will never force any one of you to worship him. Never. And even when he tells you what is right and what is wrong, he still leaves it up to you to choose. And you can choose to do what you feel like. Like Israel, when Jesus walked away from the sanctuary the last time, and he says, your house is left unto you desolate. For 40 years after that, Israel was inside that sanctuary, playing music and worshiping God, and God was never in there, not even once. But they never felt anything different. So guess what? What kept them going on for so long? Because they make sure that the worship style was exciting. Is excitement and feeling a good test for whether the worship is good? Read Isaiah chapter 1. And go and read, I can't remember if it was Haggai or Malachi, where God himself turned around at one time and he said, I hate your music. Hate it. You think it's a reggae music them did I play? No man. Still gospel song. But you know what the issue was? Sin in the camp. If music is not helping you to love God supremely, if music is not propelling you to read the word of God more, if music is not helping you to serve your fellow men more, flee that music, no matter how religious it be, because that music is an idol to you. Music is intended to bring the heart closer to God and closer to our fellow men. So, brethren, I just invite you, in everything God says, examine your motive. You understand? And once you examine, and please read, because God said, nobody will go to hell because they conscientiously believed a lie. In other words, they analyze the thing, and the conclusion they come to was, this is all right. He said, you will not go to hell because of that. You know why he said you will go to hell? Because you never use the opportunity to find out the truth about the matter. So if you want to know about music, I'd encourage you, don't listen to what Brother Cobry said or anybody else, because you will have different views. Take yourself and go and study this matter, and God will pray that God will guide you into all truth. And I plan to ask the person who is coming up for AY to come up. We're going to close. Yes.
Just a quick question or thing here.
Yes.
All right. I hear what you say in terms of just examine,
yes,
get the truth, and make a determination.
Yes.
And in my mind, I've been always wondering if there are secular songs that are not swinging you one way or the other, right? When we have socials, we have some fun songs that we sing, and it's ring game songs and all kind of things, right? And we do those things.
Yeah.
All right. Myself, I'll be driving out of town and all of that. I like, sometimes I'm just quiet, but sometimes I'll have the radio on. And somebody may come in my car and wonder, but shouldn't Elder be listening to a gospel station? How he's listening to Mellow or one of those? And for me, there is gospel station that I can listen to. But when I'm listening to it, it's telling me about all kinds of
false doctrine.
Yeah. At least when I'm listening to Mellow or one of them, if a song is being played and stuff, I know what I'm listening to. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm not saying I'm right, or wrong, I'm just telling you my experience of something there.
Yeah.
The reason. So for me personally, right, I would prefer to hear the secular song playing than to be listening to some of these songs that are called gospel songs. Praise it, and I am there praising God with a song and praising him and those who are around me and what are being led down the wrong road because of false doctrine.
All right.
So, I'm just saying to you that there are these ifs and buts, but the truth is that not even what we call gospel, we should have full confidence in, because most of them, and then sometimes even if you get one that is good, the preacher that comes on just after, I don't have to say anything more as to what they are saying.
Right. Which is why now the safest option is to burn your own CD, store your music on your thumb drive, and you have your own sermons and things. Because indeed, I agree with what you are saying. That, and because I used to listen to when love they just start, until it start compete with Irie. And then breath of change also, and then start to change, and then NCU, and then start to change. So yeah, I just put in my thumb drive. I had 300 odd songs. It will last me 5 hours going back and forth. You understand? So you have to take care, because indeed, again, you might say, look at the influence. To you, you might think it's not, nothing is wrong. But when the person come in your car and you hear it, all right. So that's why we have to be mindful, brethren. So the Philippians 4 verse 6 tells us, be careful of nothing. It says, finally, brethren, whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are of good report, if there be any virtue, if there be any praise, think on these things. I invite you to bow your heads as I pray we close. Father who art in heaven, Lord, we thank you again for the things that we were able to discuss. We know, oh God, that we rush so fast through these things. And I don't know how many of us will remember all the things that were mentioned. But and because of how the world is running, we don't know if we get an opportunity to, you know, in a setting like this, to go through it in detail. But I just pray, oh God, that you will help, that the mission was accomplished in trying to stimulate persons to become very critical of every single thing that we do. Because you did encourage us to examine ourselves to see whether we are of the faith. We need to make our calling and election sure. And it is not worth, oh God, risking any little thing just to gratify some impulse or passion and then to lose out, because we saw where Lucifer started by indulging a little passion, and we see where it led him and what we are feeling right now. So we want, oh God, to be fully and completely surrendered to you, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, physically. And so we pray that you will help us, that we will prove all things and hold fast to those things that are good. So just bless us, oh God, as we continue to worship you. Power us to have that spirit in us to want to prove all things and to always do those things that are pleasing in your sight. So bless us now, we pray, in Jesus' name. Amen.